Hey, what's up, guys? This is the weekly recap. This week was honestly, it could have been a absolutely phenomenal week, but I think that this week's thing. I don't know if I've done a previous one where I've talked about greed, but I think that greed is definitely going to be one of the main things that screws me up because when I go back and I'm replaying my videos because I record my screen and I go back and I watch my trades, like what I do good, what I do bad, how can I improve. And one of the things that really screws me up is days like Friday where it's just a fucking chop zone. I mean, it opens, it goes up, and then it goes down, and then it just chops around all afternoon. And I just got annihilated in here. But it's like, why? I mean, how freaking difficult is it to start looking? Okay, so this thing happened at 7:30 or 7:15, right? That's the zone. When does it break out of that zone? Well, the only time it actually breaks out of the zone is down over here, and it's breaking down the lows. Like it comes back down here, but like once it makes this low, it doesn't break through there. So realistically, this zone should possibly go down to like here. Okay, so how should I be playing this? Well, if I think about how I'm doing things, I should only be shorting anything that is above here. What I should be looking for is, okay, like you got all these freaking wicks down here, long down in here. My biggest problem is I'm looking for these giant home run trades, but I mean, the range on this is completely different than how it's been recently. And so, the biggest ranging bar was this short right here at 10.15. It goes from 5,700 down to 73s. So almost a 30-point move. That I would consider a pretty significant move. But like in the last month or two, there's been like 100-point moves. And I think that I got so used to that kind of move that's what I'm looking for. Really, all I need to make my entire day is a 20-point move. A 20-point move, I've done really well. And okay, so like I need to be a lot more realistic instead of looking for these 40, 50, 60-point moves. Okay, dude, like look for a 10-point move. If you can get a solid 10-point move, that's a good day. And maybe with my starter position, yeah, of course, like you can always be like, oh, that's not that great of a day. At the same time, with my starter position, a 10-point move, that's more than, like, I would say, a large majority of the population makes in a full day. 10-point move you can make in pretty easy. This is a 15-minute candle. This makes a 30-point move. That right there, that's a giant-ass home run, right? Okay, and like this is the only area that I should be looking to get shorted is right up in here. Okay, it's got these wicks. It had this huge sell-off at 7:15, which made the range, in my opinion. It opened, I believe. Where is the open? So it opened here. It opened weak. Then it pushed up, and then it starts having these wicks. Like that is my indication. Okay, you sell at the top, risking over the high. Okay, so say I short at the body. Okay, so 57.04, you're risking 16. That's a pretty big risk. I'd have to tighten that up. I'd be risking over the top of this 10s. Okay, I can do that. I can do less than 10 points. Okay, like get in with the filler. Okay, this thing opens right here, dude. Just start freaking loading in size. I mean, if I got in with my starter position, just here to here, that's a solid ass move. I'm absolutely done for the day, or I should be. My biggest problem was, especially on Friday, which is what I really want to talk about the most. I feel like because it's the most fresh in my mind because I just went back and watched my replays. But there were so many times where I was up, you know, a good amount of money, and then I end up down on the day, and like quite a bit, and then I get back to what would be break even. I don't cover anything, and then I could have ended green twice, and I kept going and going and going. Why? Because I want these giant ass days that, you know, like this, where it happens, you know, 56 60s and it goes up to, you know, 57 30s, and I'm looking for this kind of stuff, because this is where, you know, I make these big moves, and I can size into something that is trending. This is what I consider trending, right? This is a freaking chop zone. This is what kicks my ass. It's funny because when I was trading small caps, this trending shit is what would absolutely kick my ass, because I used to call them grinders, where they go up, they do something crazy, I get short, and then they somehow reclaim and then stop me out, and they do something crazy, and I get short again, and then they reclaim, and like, that's what I'm looking for in futures. I'm looking for that grinder move. You know, but now what I'm finding is these little chop days, I'm getting screwed up on. I'm getting my ass kicked over here, and you know, this is the kind of stuff that I'm looking for. I'm looking for the stuff that finds this low and then just goes up, does something crazy to suck in a bunch of shorts. I'm looking to add to my position when they blow out the shorts, and I'm going for a big ride on big size and making big ass payday, and then I'm giving it all back over here. And I think that's one of the things that when I'm talking to the traders that I'm helping, it's not hard to make money. Making money in the stock market is not difficult. Where it gets difficult is keeping that money, and you know, starting to figure out what screws you up the most. I think that for me, the biggest thing is, you know, not having a clear idea of exactly how I should be trading this, like how I should be sizing in, and you know, because it's new to me. And so for me, you know, one thing I've been working on is, okay, so this is the where's the open level? Right here. All right, so this is the opening level. All right, so for me, what I've been talking about is going up here and longing anything that's over this, but it has to do something different. Like I took a long right here, and I got stopped out, and my stop was down here, which I think that's how I should have been playing it. Why? Because I'm looking for this thing to trend, right? But like the problem was, I took a trade here, and I was busy at work, and so I wasn't able to be present. There's a fucking doji at the top of this thing. This thing opens at below the level, pops above, has a little wick, and then starts selling off. Like, that is 100% short, right? And then the problem is, it comes down here. This would have been my first area to cover a piece, right? Now I've been looking for a continuation. What do I want to see? I want to see this thing come up. I want to see this reject, and then it fell below. Like, I would have been adding to this probably like somewhere around in here. But I'd be risking just off of this. I'm not risking the very high up here, especially once I start adding in size. I'm not risking that much. But like, if you look at this, just how it started, up and over, up and over, and then this, it doesn't even give a clear rejection at all. It just fucking sells off. Like that makes it very difficult to trade. I felt like the only way you could have actually capitalized on this move is if I was 100% focused and I saw this react the correct way down here, and I could have like added size on this one bar. The other thing with that is this right here. Like, this is why I go back and review things. Okay, so this was previous support, right? Well, previous support turns into resistance. That would have been a good area to look to add to my position if I missed this long ass candle. I do not want to be adding way the hell down here. That's another thing. Like, this thing opens, okay, it starts selling off. Okay, like add a little bit of size. Like add on the pops. Okay, like there's a clear area that I can add at. Okay, so say I got in with, this thing goes down, has a doji, like that makes me kind of nervous though. When it has a bearish engulfing candle, a doji that opens like red, I don't know, like that's not exactly the right formation of candles that I want to be trading in. What I want to see is I want to see this thing come down and like open here and have like a green candle that pops up and can't go any higher, and then like the next candle open and then go red. That's kind of like my ideal situation. Like even down here, right? Like this is another thing. Like this thing sells off into a area that I'm looking at, but then it just straight like rips up like two candles in a row, just rip straight up. Like looking over this is something I've been looking for, because this is a previous consolidation zone. It rejects there, then it holds, and pushes on up. Like little things like that. And then this thing over here, this doji right here, this thing goes down and literally, damn near penny touches this thing, gets sucked back up. I can't remember where the hell this actually might have been on the 15-minute that I was looking at. But like that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking for. But I need to start to figure out the best way to go about trading this stuff. So this thing opens here, has a floor down there. I'm gonna actually write this all the way across. This is one thing that I used a lot in small caps. Is I'm looking for a 61 fib level, at least the 61 fib level. This thing gives you a couple different chances. Another thing that I've been noticing about futures is that it likes these little 50s. But like the problem with that is, if you look at this, it doesn't give as much of a fade down. The 60s and 70s usually have a pretty good fade, and that's usually a good indication for like a lower high area. But this is what I mean though. Like this thing has a nice downtrend, and then all of a sudden it just chop. And like if you're a position trader like me, that I'm looking for a big move and I want to hold. Like my ideal position is I get like full size right there and I hold it for a big fade. I'm looking for a big ass payday. That is one of my problems is I'm looking for these giant ass fucking days, and I'm getting chopped up, or I'm getting a solid day, but it's not enough. Yeah, I need more and more and more, and like that's a huge problem. Like once again over here, so on this candle right here. So delete this one. Okay, so this has an opening, right? So then it comes down, it fills the zone, and the other thing to look at is my EMAs. They're stacked in the correct direction, and after it fails, it starts rejecting again. Like, okay, like get short there, risk off of here. Okay, so if I'm going to be risking, 10 cents or 10 points, I need 20 points. Okay, does it get down to 60s? Yeah, it does. Like that's this fucking level right here. Bam, you're done for the day. That's it, and just leave. My problem is, I'll get the day, and then it's like, this thing comes up here, I'm like, oh damn dude, I gotta take this too, and then I take that, and then I cover here, and it's like, oh like I gotta take the next one, and it's like, no dude, just get your hit, get your run, and just get the hell off and go. Then over here, let's see, 930s. This is that crazy ass doji that I was looking at. There, right here. Okay, so this one, like this is even worse of a chop zone than the other one, right? So this thing comes through, holds, but it's got a doji. That's not what I want to see. And then I get this long fucking red candle, and then it starts uptrending, right? This thing's got wicks down at the bottom, holds, comes over. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Is it like a red candle that comes back down and like almost tests the area and holds? That's where I'm looking to long. But the problem is this thing didn't give any range, and then it comes back down and then rips straight through, right? And then like, okay, well, what I'd be looking for here? I'd be looking to short up in here, but I'm looking for a fade down to here. Doesn't give it. And then it rips right back through. And then, it doesn't do anything. This is the only place that actually even does a move, but it doesn't give the right signal or pattern for me to trade. And, but it does give a big ass move, but it's also at, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Which is another thing that I've been having a problem with, is just trading all freaking day long. So I feel like this is a really rough week, and on top of that, I was so freaking busy all week long. It doesn't make any sense to me, like why I'm trying to force these trades, and I don't know. It was a very, very frustrating week, very, very, very frustrating, and I know, when I want to share these experiences of mine, because I feel like a lot of people have these kind of moments, and I really do believe that it's not difficult to make money in the stock market. What's difficult is understanding your emotions when you're going on tilt, and when you start getting triggered, and just being able to walk away. Being more mindful and more present is a very, very difficult thing to do, and I don't know. I can get on here all day and make it sound like I'm some expert, but when I talk to my I guess my students, or my friends that are working with me, and a part of my community and stuff, they I tell them, like, the reason that I think that I'm different than every other room out there is because I'm not trying to tell you that I clearly don't have everything figured out. Like, I still piecing everything together, but I feel like that's how everybody is. I think that when you have people that try to tell you like that their system is, I have a 80%, dude, they don't have a fucking 80% win rate. Like, how are you calculating that? How are you I don't know. Yeah, how do you calculate, like, what do you consider a win? Because I remember this one guy that I used to work with, that like he'd take 3 or 4 scratches, and then he'd take one big ass win. He'd just count all of that as one trade, and he's like, oh, it's 100% win rate. It's like, no, dude, you took 4 losses before you took the win. Like, just because your win was ginormous does not mean that like you have a high win rate. Like, I don't know. I feel like people go out there and they try to make their system, sound like it's like the most amazing thing in the world, but like it doesn't fucking matter. Even if their system is phenomenal, you're not going to be able to trade their system exactly the way that they are. They have a system because they took the time to understand how their emotions work, and I don't know, like, what works for them. Like, you need to figure out what works for you. And for me, I'm more of a position trader, and my biggest problem is I don't need to have a giant ass position to make a good chunk of money on that. All I need is one fish a day. I remember my brother telling me this story about this guy that would catch one fish a day, and then you start getting all these people that try to corrupt you into making more and more money and get greedy, and all you need is one fish a day. All you need is a piece of this move. That's it, and then get the fuck off. Go enjoy your day. Now, I think that's the thing that really pissed me off this week by reviewing all this stuff, is there were so many times where I was up a good chunk of money. Like, I should have been super, super happy and grateful that I was up that much money. but I just want more because I've had really big days in like the last couple months, and I'm just chasing this high. That's what I feel like as I'm chasing this just huge dopamine hit, and that's not being a trader. That's being a gambler, and that's being a freaking addict. And so I think that this next week I really need to just chill the hell out and just get back to the basics. And I know this wasn't like really going over like a lot of trades, but I don't know. I think that I'm also not going to put it on here because it's so like I traded this thing like a fucking machine gun. Like I have so many freaking entries and exits on this shit. It's so hard to figure out. Like was it long or was it short? Was it covering? Was it selling? I don't fucking know. So, but the other thing is when I was talking to the guys was that I really am. I'm bullish, and I know that there's a lot of people that aren't, but man, I really think this shit's gonna go up, and but with that being said, it is definitely in a area that I think that it might be tough to break through for a little while. It's at the 61 fib level. Anything in really this level, I think it's going to be very tough for it to break through. And so for me, there's this consolidation over here. There's a big move, at the 74s. I think that's going to be hard to break through. I think that this previous high is going to be hard to break through. There's a lot of levels that are holding this thing down, and I think it's going to be very tough for this thing to start coming back up. But I do think that it is going to climb back up. But it's funny because looking at this, right? So look at this doji day. Like that's what I was getting my freaking ass kicked on, is like it's got no range. Then you get this day that goes up and then goes back. It's like, okay, having the right timing. Like even with that, you start seeing these dojis or these the selling pressure up here. Like I said, I feel like it's going to have a hard time breaking through these levels, and I need to be mindful of that. I think that it is uptrending, but I don't know. Like I can still make a good move to the short side if I time things right. And being mindful and present is gonna help me get there. So hope this helps somebody that watches it, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend, and I hope you guys are studying just like I am so you can improve. So later.